follow the Honourable Member from Worthington Rest, but I'd also like to thank my honourable friend, Dudley North, for the moving, thoughtful and inspirational way he opened this debate. Last spring, as he said, we had the honour to join the annual March of the Living, alongside Holocaust survivors, as well as young people from around the world. It took us from Auschwitz to Birkenau. And during the week, as you've heard, we stopped at places such as Belzec and also at the forest of Slibichowska Gora, where 6,000 Jews, including 800 children, were murdered. A very moving experience. Those memories are very much in my mind today as we mark Holocaust Memorial Day and the tearing of people from their homes under the threat of persecution and genocide. Once again, I'm reminded of lives cut tragically short, communities uprooted and destroyed, as well as the sheer depravity of the systematic attempt to slaughter the Jews of Europe. But I'm also reminded of something else from that journey last spring, the fact that even in the midst of places of great horror and suffering, we celebrated life. Before travelling to Poland, we were encouraged to read the stories of some of those who survived the Shoah. Stories of tragedy and loss, but also of bravery, love and the endurance of the human spirit. Men and women like Freddie Nolla, who fought in the French resistance, but when captured, chose to confess that he was a Jew rather than denounce his comrades. And Yves Kugler, who's already been mentioned, who wrote after the Second World War that we started again with nothing except the Jewish beliefs and values that the Nazis could never take from us. Their stories recall the words of the late Martin Gilbert. Even in the darkness of the Holocaust, there were sparks of light. Our journey also gave us the opportunity to celebrate the life of the Jewish people's homeland, which was reborn in the aftermath of the Holocaust. We recalled the contribution of the survivors to the State of Israel and all that many of us admire so much about its achievements, its values and its resilience. But remembrance and celebration alone are not enough. To truly honour those who died in the Holocaust and those who risked all to save the lives of others, we must also learn from it. Because tragically, the flames of racial and religious hatred continue to be fanned around the world. Anti-Semitism remains a scourge of the modern world. Hideous anti-Semitic tropes, repugnant conspiracy theories and malicious examples of Holocaust denial are all used by populists and demagogues for political ends throughout the Middle East and in Europe.
I really appreciate my honourable friend giving way. And does she agree with me that there is so much more that needs to be done to tackle this scourge on social media? It's an absolute cesspit on sites like Facebook and Twitter, the degree of anti-Semitism that we see. And as we remember the Holocaust today, we remember also that that didn't happen in a vacuum. That happened because of the context, the prejudice and the dehumanisation of people. We're seeing that today on social media. And does she agree with me that we must see more, both in terms of legislation and from the social media companies themselves, to deal with this?
My honourable friend makes a very important point, and I absolutely agree with her. And much is said, but not enough is done about this form of hate crime, which is pernicious. Here in the UK, on campuses and trade unions, and even sadly, as we've heard in the Labour Party, pernicious comparisons have been drawn between Israel and Nazi Germany. And in the United States, we see neo-Nazis, racists and white supremacists tolerated, excused and encouraged by those at the highest levels. We must stand up with courage against anti-Semitism and racism each and every day, wherever we find it. One of the greatest weapons we have at our disposal in this fight is education. As Sir Ben Helfgott, also a Holocaust survivor, suggested, we must all do our utmost to help create greater harmony, mutual respect and understanding amongst people. So I commend the vital work of organisations such as the Holocaust Educational Trust, such as March of the Living and such as Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. By teaching younger generations about the horrors of the past, they are working for a future that is free of hate. And let us remember too the moral duty that each of us has to play our part in this struggle. That duty was best put by Elie Wiesel. The opposite of love, he wrote, is not hate, it's indifference. Yeah.